Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. As a reminder, my name is Craig from Hawaii Community College in Hilo, and my colleagues are Kimberly Martinson from UH Maui College and Angela Coloretti-McGough from Kapiolani CC. We're excited to chat with you today about personal productivity, and feel free to hold on to your questions for the end or put them in the chat. Throughout the workshop, we do like to share a few quotes related to personal productivity. We'll also have a couple of mini quizzes every so often. Of course, none of this is graded, but our goal is to reinforce your knowledge so that you can apply it after the workshop. This quote here is, "The journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step." Good advice for productivity. Take baby steps and you can climb a mountain. Getting started. Most people find that they wish they had more time in a day, and this workshop will show you how to organize your lives and find those hidden moments. You'll learn how to establish routines and set goals and create an efficient environment, and also to use time-honored planning and organizational tools to maximize productivity. Research has consistently demonstrated that when clear goals are associated with learning, it occurs more easily and rapidly. These are the workshop topics that we're going to cover today. And time is the stuff that life is made of. It really helps to use it to our advantage. Goal setting is critical to our personal productivity. So it's the single most important life skill that unfortunately many people never learn how to do properly. Goal setting can be used in every single area of life, including financial and physical and personal development, relationships, or even spiritual. According to the book that's called Goals by Brian Tracy, fewer than 3% of people have clear written goals and a plan for getting there. But setting goals puts you ahead of the pack, makes you more competitive. Some people blame everything that goes wrong in their life on something else or someone else. They take the role of a victim and they give all of their power and control away. So successful people instead will dedicate themselves towards taking responsibility for their lives. No matter what the unforeseen or uncontrollable events, life is in the present, and the past cannot be changed. So the future is a direct result of what you do right now. And a SMART goal is a very convenient acronym for a set of criteria that a goal must have in order for it to be realized by the goal achiever. When I did some teacher training 20 something years ago, we would use SMART goals to develop our lesson plans, and they can be adopted to use in many different areas. So the acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And we'll take a look at each of them individually. For specific, remember, vague goals produce vague results. In order for you to achieve a goal, you must be very clear about what exactly you want. So often creating a list of benefits that the goal will accomplish will bring your goal to life, and it will give your mind a compelling reason to pursue that goal. Be sure to clearly state what needs to be done and who is involved. So here's an example. Instead of, I want to get better at math, consider a specific goal like, I will correctly solve 8 out of 10 two-digit multiplication problems during our daily math practice. For measurable, it's crucial for goal achievement that you're able to track your progress towards your goal. That's why all goals need some form of objective measuring, a system so that you can stay on track and become motivated and enjoy the sweet taste of your quantifiable progress. Here's an example. Instead of, I will participate more in class, consider, I will contribute at least one relevant comment or question during social studies discussions 3 times this week. It's a very measurable goal. And achievable. Setting big goals is great, but setting unrealistic goals will just demotivate us. A good goal is one that challenges, but is not so unrealistic that you have virtually no chance of accomplishing it. So instead of setting a goal like, I will get a perfect score on every test this semester, because unless this is really achievable, it could lead to burnout. Consider another example. I will improve my science test scores by 5% on the next exam by reviewing my notes for 20 minutes daily. So it's achievable, it's modest, and it has a way to get there. And for relevant, before you even set goals, it's a good idea to sit down and define your core values and your life purpose, because it's these tools which ultimately decide how and what goals you choose for your life. Goals in and of themselves do not provide any happiness, right? Goals that are in harmony with our life and purpose do have the power to make us happy. So, for example, instead of I will complete my homework every night, consider I will complete all of my history homework assignments on time so I can earn a B or higher in the course and be eligible to join clubs at school. And time bound, or also called timed. Without setting deadlines for your goals, you have no real compelling reason or motivation to start working on them. So, by setting a deadline, your subconscious mind begins to work on that goal night and day to help you bring that goal closer to achievement. For example, instead of I will read more books, consider I will read 2 nonfiction books related to environmental science by the end of the school year. Achieving challenging goals requires a whole lot of mental energy. So instead of spreading yourself thin by focusing on several goals at once, invest your mental focus on one goal, the most important goal right now. When you are prioritizing, choose a goal that will have the greatest impact on your life compared to how long it will take to achieve it. A large part of goal setting is not just identifying what you want, but also identifying what you must give up in your life in order to get it. Most people are unwilling to make a conscious decision to give up things in their life that's necessary to achieve their goals. So, evaluating and adapting. As we change and grow, our goals should change too. When you reach the target date set out in your goal, look at what you have achieved. And here is a checklist to help you out. What percentage of my goal did I achieve? Why did I achieve that percentage? What would I do differently next time? What is my next step? And what other goals might need to change now? In addition, keep an eye on new trends and ideas around you. You might just find one that will change your life. And here is one of our little quiz questions for you. Complete this sentence. Goal setting is blank to your personal productivity. Critical, useful, meaningless, soothing. I see one vote for useful. Any other thoughts? And then, sorry, we change it to C. When I see some A's and some B's, I mean, a lot of them could be applied. We think the answer is A, critical. Goal setting, it's critical to your personal productivity. So it's essential, right? Cannot live without goal setting. Next question, what is the single most important life skill that most people never learn to do properly? Eat their vegetables, run a marathon, set SMART goals, be on time. See a bunch of C's and a D. That's right. If you came in at the start of this presentation, you heard this section on SMART goals. So we think setting SMART goals is the single most important life skill that more of us could benefit from doing more often. And last one, accomplishing short-term blank can help you accomplish tasks. See a whole bunch of A's in the chat. Yep, pretty easy one here. Setting short-term goals can help you accomplish your tasks. And they are reasonable and time-bound and achievable, and they meet the SMART acronym. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So when we set those goals, of course, we have to stay on top of them. And some of that discipline can be found in the power of routines. So for most people, the word routine often conjures up an image of a boring, repetitive life with every moment controlled and managed and no room for spontaneity. Routines and rituals, however, can actually help increase the spontaneity and fun in your life because routine tasks are already planned for you. You don't have to think about them. You have more energy to spend on the tasks that will bring you closer to your goals and bring more joy to your life. So, what is a routine? Dictionary defines it as any practice or pattern or behavior regularly performed in a set manner. In fact, you can build any type of routine in 3 easy steps. Identify the task. Let's say you want to build an exercise routine. Identify the time and or trigger. For example, perhaps you normally exercise right after work. And then identify the subtasks. For you, perhaps your routine involves going to the gym, getting changed, stretching, doing 45 minutes on the treadmill, performing 3 reps of weights, and doing a lap around the pool to finish things off. Then you shower and go home. Remember, a routine shouldn't be set in stone. Once you establish a routine, it can be modified at any point in time, depending on what works for you. Sleep, meals, and exercise form the building blocks of our lives, and without this stable foundation, other personal productivity efforts won't be as successful. Here's some ideas. So for sleep, establish a routine for a half an hour before you sleep. This might include creating a to-do list for the next day, enjoying a cup of tea, taking a warm bath, performing some stretches. All of these activities will help you wind down and sleep better. And it's best to try to go to bed at around the same time every night too. For meals, think about taking a half an hour each weekend to plan your meals for the next week, including your lunches and dinners, and then make a grocery list and get everything you will need. Appliances like slow cookers can also help you make sure dinner is ready when you are. For exercise, try to exercise for 1 hour 3 times a week or a half an hour each day. And one easy way is to go for a brisk walk at lunch or do some yoga in the morning before work or school. Here are some routines that many people find helpful in maximizing their time in the office. Instead of checking email throughout the day or at school, set aside 1 or several periods, for example, morning, noon, and night, and then batch and sequence your activities. For example, your email and your social media. You can batch many of these tasks in this way for maximum efficiency. Set up a system for maintaining your task tracking system. This can be as simple as 5 minutes in the morning to update your day's list, 5 minutes at noon to update what you have done already, and 5 minutes at the day's end to evaluate your day and create a starting list for tomorrow. In the morning, perform your tasks in an organized, routine manner. You can also lay out your clothes and prepare your lunch the night before for your maximum efficiency. Here's another quiz question for you on the routine section. Routines allow you to have more blank to spend on tasks. Room, money, energy, or fun? I need to open my chat so I can see it. Oh, I see a bunch of C's, some A's, so energy, room. Yeah, both could be applicable. We think energy. Yeah, when you have a routine, you're already doing the same thing every day, and that gives you more energy to think about doing some of the new things that you've set for your goals. And once you establish a routine, it can blank. Be set in stone, be difficult, be modified, or be easy. You guys are paying attention. Yeah, that's right. It can be modified. It's not set in stone. It's something that you can build and create and adapt as you need to fit your needs. Which is not one of the 3 easy steps to building a routine? Identifying the task, yourself, the subtasks, or the timer trigger. I see a bunch of B's in the chat there. I am inclined to agree. The 3 steps are identify the task, identify the subtasks, and identify the timer trigger, but not yourself. You already have identified yourself, hopefully. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. So, scheduling yourself. Routines and rituals should form the framework of your days at home, in school, and at work. In addition to these key activities, you will have day to day tasks, projects to complete, and goals to work on. So, this module will explore how to schedule those tasks and activities in the most efficient way possible. In order to be as productive as you can be, you must remember the simple secret of time management. There is no secret, no one size fits all solution, and no magic button. You must explore different methods and through trial and error, find the solutions that work for you. Most people find that combining several different time management and productivity methods creates a system that works for them. As a last note, remember as you grow and as your life changes, you may need to revise your time management system. Keep an eye on what others are doing and what new ideas emerge for you. You might just find something that works. So here's one tool that a lot of us find useful: the urgent important matrix. Managing your time effectively and achieving the things that you want to achieve means spending your time on things that are important and not just urgent. So to do this, it helps to distinguish clearly between what is urgent and what is important. Well, another name for this concept is the Eisenhower principle. So I'll go over the breakdown of each quadrant. Urgent and important are activities in this area that relate to dealing with critical issues as they arise and meeting your significant commitments. These are duties that you must perform now. Next one is important but not urgent. And these success-oriented tasks are critical to achieving your goals, so plan to do these things next. Then comes urgent but not important. These chores do not move you forward toward your goals. You can manage by delaying them, cut them short, and rejecting requests from others. These are chores you can postpone. And then the last one is not urgent and not important. So these are trivial types of interruptions that are just a distraction. They should be avoided if possible. However, be careful not to mislabel things like time with family and recreational activities as not important, right? We need these too. But if they're truly distractions, be sure to avoid them. And scheduling tasks. So if you're finding your to-do lists are getting longer and longer, give some of these ideas a try. Instead of being overwhelmed by a large project, deconstruct it into smaller bite-sized pieces. See who else might be able to help. So see if you can delegate tasks to others. And you can match up those tasks with the individual strengths of the others in your group or family. Be strict with deadlines, but also be flexible enough to accommodate changing situations. Always have a backup plan and allow for extra time when dealing with people who are not part of your organization. Here's a few more quiz questions for us. Routines and blank should form the framework of your days at home and in school. Routines and procrastination, difficult tasks, rituals, or avoidance. I see a number of C's in the chat, also B's. Yeah, different ones could be applicable. We think it's going to be C, routines and rituals should form the framework of your days at home and in the office. And what's the term for the concept that allows you to differentiate between important tasks and urgent tasks? Is it the urgent, important matrix? Is it important, not urgent matrix? Is it homework matrix? Is it work task matrix? I see a bunch of A's. Yeah, we call that one the urgent, important matrix. And which is not a quadrant of the urgent, important matrix? You guys are really paying attention. Yeah. C, urgent and ethical, is actually not one of the quadrants, but not a bad thing to think about also.
Ray, we had a question about rituals. What is a ritual?
What
You.
is an example of a ritual? Oh, so it's like something that we do all the time, almost without thinking of it, almost religiously. Doesn't necessarily have to be related to religion, of course, but like the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to eat healthier for breakfast. So I keep a bunch of hard-boiled eggs in the fridge, and I pop one out and have it with a piece of toast in the morning, and I never have to think about breakfast. So that's like my morning ritual. And because I don't have to think about breakfast, I can be thinking about other things that I need to do to get my day started. So it's just finding those habits that work well with our schedule and our our minds, that so that to free up time to think about other things. Anyone else have an idea of a ritual example? You could put it in the chat if you have one.
Ooh, avocado toast.
Ooh, avo toast, yum. Thanks for that question. Okay, Kim is going to take over with our next module.
Okay. Ordinary people think merely of spending time. Great people think of using it. It's from Anonymous. Okay. Keeping yourself on top of tasks. Even after you've created a plan, it's important to keep adjusting it so you stay in control of your time, not the other way around. Plans aren't meant to be rigid. They're meant to evolve as priorities, deadlines, and energy levels change. So in this module, we'll introduce practical strategies that'll help you stay on top of your to-do list, adapt to things as they shift, and maintain momentum throughout the semester. Okay. So the first one is the 1 minute rule. If you can do a task in 60 seconds or less, do it immediately. Small tasks pile up fast, and knocking them out right away reduces mental clutter, boosts momentum, and helps you stay focused on bigger priorities. So what can you do in 1 minute or less? You can check a voicemail, an email, or a notification. You can also send quick emails or text messages replying, such as like yes or no's, confirmations, maybe a thank you. You can accept or decline meetings or class invitations, upload a quick assignment or a discussion post. You could also use the time to save files or rename documents so you can find them later. You can do a quick stretch, take a deep breath, maybe reset your posture. And then you can also tidy up your digital space so you can close your tabs that have been accumulating or maybe organize your desktop. So this is helpful because it prevents small tasks from becoming overwhelming. It also reduces procrastination and decision fatigue. It helps create like quick wins and to help build your motivation. And it frees up your mental space for studying and larger projects. Okay, moving on to the 5 minute. So if you're stuck on a task or you can't get started, may have hit a roadblock or feel overwhelmed, commit to working on these for just 5 minutes. Repeat each hour until you feel like you've reached a meaningful progress. So 5 minutes lowers the barriers to starting. Small, consistent actions breaks resistance and helps build momentum. So in 5 minutes, you could maybe say your desk is too cluttered. You can maybe spend 5 minutes each clearing a specific section to kind of whittle that down. Or assignments or reports might not be moving. You could use 5 minutes to work on one piece, maybe such as the outline, maybe reverse or revise a section, or maybe add a citation. If your inbox is overflowing, you can spend 5 minutes to respond, delete, or file, or maybe flag key messages that you're going to come back to. And then if studying feels overwhelming, which sometimes it does, maybe review one concept at a time, one page or one problem, and then settle on 5 minutes for that. So this helps because it helps reduce procrastination and paralysis. It makes big tasks feel more manageable, and it builds a steady progress without burnout. This will also help train your brain to start even when your motivation is low. So it'll keep helping you move forward. Okay. So what to do when you feel like you're sinking? When you're feeling overwhelmed, you want to create a reset plan. So no matter how well you plan or how organized you are, there will be times when everything feels like too much. And when that happens, you could use these 5 simple steps to help regain control and move forward. Okay, step 1 is to pause and breathe. You want to take a deep breath before you try to fix a problem. Make sure your mind is calm and focused. You make better decisions when you're not in panic mode. Okay, step 2, Get everything out of your head. Write down all your outstanding tasks, assignments, emails, meetings, personal obligation. You want to get it all down on paper. And if there's a due date, note it next to the task. Okay. Step 3, check your calendar. Look at what time the time that you realistically have. And then you want to create a plan for the most important tasks and add them to your tracking system. This is your calendar app planner, productivity journal, your to-do list. Next is choose your top 3. So you want to identify the 3 most important tasks that must be addressed today. And these become your priorities. Everything else can wait. And then lastly, step 5 is start with the most critical tasks first. So if possible, begin working on the most urgent or important item first. So remember the Eisenhower matrix that Craig was just talking about. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, starting creates momentum. Okay, so remember, you're likely to need to revisit this task list and as your priorities and things start to change. And that's okay. This reset plan isn't about perfection. It's about helping you get your head above water and get back on track. Okay, so we do have some questions for you. Okay, so which of these can you do when you feel like you're sinking? Okay. Give up and find another line of work or major. Hopefully not. Make a list of outstanding tasks and mark the dates. Hide all the tasks and scroll on your phone, and then assign them to someone else. Okay, lots of D's, although D sounds fun. Okay, next question. Like all other plans, you'll probably need to blank your to-do items and priorities once you've completed a few tasks. A, revisit. B, eliminate. C, discard. And D, hide. Okay, awesome. You guys got it. All A's. Okay, you want to revisit. Okay, next question. Okay, after you created a plan for the most important items, you should do what? A, celebrate with a night out. B, transfer them to your tracking system. C, take a break, you deserve it. Or D, create more plans and weigh your options later. Okay, so D, so you want to create a plan for the most important items and then transfer them to your tracking system. Don't forget to do that. So the answer is B. You want to do that transfer. Okay. Okay, we have another quote. The surest way to be late is to have plenty of time. So this quote kind of means when we think we have lots of time, we're more likely to relax and delay starting, or we get distracted. We tell ourselves, I'll do it later, and we usually may underestimate how long things actually take, which I do all the time. So these small delays add up, and before we know it, we're rushing or we're late. I like that quote. Okay, so tackling new tasks and projects. When you're assigned a new task or project, it's important to create a plan at the beginning so you get off to a good start. And in this module, we'll look at some different techniques that you can use to tackle new to-do items. Okay. So the first one is a sliding scale. And this will match the plan to the task. When planning and organizing, aim to create the right size plan for the task in front of you. Not every task is going to need a detailed system, and not every project can survive without one. So for example, if your goal is to clean up your inbox, you probably don't need 3 hours of planning. But if you're assigned a complex group project or your capstone project, spending days or a few weeks planning can save you time and stress later. So you want to choose the right tool for the job. So small tasks, you use simple tools that help you move quickly. These are your to-do list, calendar reminders, your note apps, or your planner. And then medium-sized tasks or projects, you want to use tools to help you see steps, goals, and timing. This will help you stay organized. These could be workflow diagrams, your visual timelines, your outlines, or your storyboards. Okay. And then large or long-term projects, you want to use tools designed for complexity and duration. And these are going to be your detailed project plans where you have everything out, your project-specific planners or journals, and your outline dashboards for time tracking and progress. And this will help you stay on track and organized as well. So these sliding scales should help you prevent over-planning on simple tasks. They will also help add structure where it's actually needed and save time to reduce frustration, and then hopefully help you stay flexible instead of feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so a checklist for getting started. So before starting most tasks, you'll need a bit of background information. How much you need depends on the task. Again, simple tasks require very little, but while complex projects may need more details. So you can use a checklist to set yourself up for success. So the first thing you would do is start asking questions. When will I start and what is the deadline? So you want to know when you're going to start this project and when is it actually due? So you want to write both down and then you can plan backwards. Who can I rely on for help or information? And these are your classmates, your instructors, advisors, coworkers, or tutors. And what are the major steps or deliverables? You want to focus on the big piece. What are you actually reporting at? What is this project really about? Before worrying about all the little details. The next is, what obstacles might I encounter? And how can I plan around that? So for example, if a key person in your group is going to be unavailable for a duration of the project, you want to make sure that you get their information or what they're contributing before they leave. Okay. And then the next one is, what work has already been completed? So you want to avoid redoing work or spending time on something that's already been done. So this checklist will hopefully help you reduce any uncertainty before you begin, prevent last-minute surprises, and save time by identifying issues early. And lastly, make large tasks feel more manageable. Okay, so we're on to evaluating and adapting your plan. So again, for medium to large-sized tasks, it's important to build in moments to pause and evaluate your progress. These check-in points are often called milestones. Help you make sure your plan is still working before things spiral. So at each milestone, you want to ask yourself, what is working well? What is not working? What needs to change so I can move forward? And then adjust your plan as needed. Flexibility is a big part of good planning, okay? And then signs that it might be time to revisit your plan. So you don't need to wait for a deadline or a milestone to course correct. Review your plan. If you keep falling further behind, even when you're trying, your motivation has dropped significantly and you feel the plan is too big or too small for the task, and then something major has changed. Maybe a group member left the group or something came up, the deadline might have changed, or the expectations could have changed. And this will help prevent small problems from becoming big ones, help you stay realistic with the time and energy, and hopefully encourage progress instead of perfection. Okay, so we do have a few questions again.
We have one question before you move on. I think it's related to this slide. If I get close to my deadline and the ability to move it is applicable, like you can move it, should I feel shame for moving it?
No, never. No. If it's going to help you, definitely take advantage of that. Don't feel, ashamed that you might be pushing things back. If it's allowed and it could help you, by all means. And if it helps lessen stress from you, take advantage of it, is what I would say. And then it would also help with your project too. It could help you add more stuff and not feel so rushed. Great question. Okay. So what can you do to get a good start when you're assigned a new task? You can A, create a plan, B, run for the hills, C, go on vacation, or D, quit your job. I'm glad to see all A's. Yes, you want to create a plan. Okay, next question. Kind of funny. Okay, which of these would you want to spend several days or weeks planning? A, lunch, B, small projects, C, complex projects, or D, late projects? Yes, perfect, C's, all C's. If you're handed a complex project, you want to spend several days or weeks planning and getting that information to create that plan. Or vacation, yes. Okay, next one. You must understand what blank are appropriate for different size projects. We have A, tools, B, pens, C, computers, and D, people. Okay, yes, the objective of the topic is to understand what tools are appropriate for different size projects. Great job. See all A's. Okay, we have another quote. A project is complete when it starts working for you rather than you working for it. Scott Allen. Okay, so we talk about creating a workspace. So to be as productive as possible, your environment matters. So the space that you work in can either support your focus or constantly distract you. So in this module, we're going to offer practical ideas for creating an effective, comfortable, and ergonomic workspace, no matter where you are working. So whether you're studying at the library, at coffee shop, or at home, small adjustments can make big differences in your energy, focus, and efficiency. Okay. So setting up your physical layout. One of the most important parts of an effective workspace is your physical layout. A well-organized space supports focus, comfort, and productivity, no matter how small or temporary the space may be. So tips for an effective physical layout. The first one is choose a supportive chair. Your chair should support your back and encourage good posture. If you need, you can also put a small pillow behind your back or maybe a rolled towel to give extra support. When possible, you want to use natural lights. So you want to position your desk if you can to take full advantage of the natural light, but please avoid placing the light directly so it's going to be blinding you in your eyes or reflecting off of your screen. The next one is keep your desk clear. Limit what stays on your desk to items that you use daily. You want to store your papers or tools where they belong and make it a habit to clear your desk at the end of each day. Okay. You can also schedule regular cleanups to do a full clean or reorganization maybe once or twice a year, maybe more often if your space changes frequently. And then keep essentials within reach. You want to place your phone, your chargers, or frequently used items nearby, and then make your space pleasant. You want to add simple items that make your space feel more inviting, like such as plants, photos, or any other meaningful objects that make you happy. And then focus on what you can control. So even small changes can improve your setup. Stay open to new ideas and adjust as needed. Okay, next we have Ergonomics 101. So it may seem obvious, but as you become more efficient, you become more productive. But speed isn't always about rushing. It's about reducing friction and how you work. So with practice and intention, you can gradually improve how quickly you complete everyday tasks without increasing stress. So this might include increasing your typing speed, improving reading efficiency, moving more purposefully between tasks or locations, and then streamlining repetitive actions. So the key is to increase speed little by little while maintaining accuracy and comfort. So ways to improve speed and efficiency. You can choose tools and methods that fit your interests and your lifestyle. So there's so many games that like typing games, reaction time games, or focus-based challenges that make practice engaging. There's also practice tasks. There's time reading sessions you can do, typing drills, or short productivity sprints. And then there's so many apps. There's like apps for typing trainers, focus timers, habit trackers, or reading tools. And then there's computer programs like software that helps automate tasks that help you organize your files or reduce repetitive work. And then don't forget AI. We have all these AI tools, and there's so many AI tools out there that help you brainstorm ideas. They summarize readings. Can help you draft outlines, organize tasks, or automate routine work, freeing up more time for deeper thinking and learning. Okay, so using your computer efficiently. So in the previous sections, we focused on creating a productive physical workspace, and now we're going to shift into a virtual workspace, your computer, apps, and digital organization. So just like your desk, your computer works best when it's organized, customized, and easy to navigate. So these small adjustments can help you save time, reduce frustration, and improve focus. So here are a few tips for efficient virtual workspace. You want to organize your start menu or app launcher. And this will be helping you group and pin applications that you use most so they're easy to find. You want to keep your desktop clutter-free. So treat your virtual desktop like your physical one. Use folders, remove unused files, and resist the urge to pile everything onto your desktop where you cannot find anything. Okay? And then customize toolbars and shortcuts. So you want to adjust toolbars within applications to place frequently used commands at your fingertips. So if you use them all the time, make sure they're easily accessible. And then use automation when possible. So take advantage of apps and built-in tools that automate tasks such as your updates, your backups, file organization. And then use search instead of scrolling. So if you're spending like minutes, like 20 minutes looking for a file, you can always learn quick keyboard shortcuts, or you can kind of type it in if you're looking for a specific file, maybe to help you speed up. Okay, so we have a couple more questions. So what do you need to be the most productive? You have A, to create an appropriate environment, B, a job and a paycheck. I guess that wouldn't hurt. C, a willing partner, or D, someone to delegate to. Yes, A. In order to be most productive, you create an appropriate environment. Great. Okay, next question. What is one key aspect of an effective workplace? Location to the nearest coffee shop. Again, that wouldn't hurt. E, proximity to the boss's office. C, physical layout. Or D, team of people to do the work for you. Okay, lots of C. Okay, great. And then last question. What should you focus on at work? A, changes you can make. B, home. C, late bills. Or D, message boards. Okay, yes, lots of A's. Great, great. Yes, changes that you can make. Keep your eyes open for new ideas. Thank you. Amazing. You guys are on it. Okay, off to you, Angela.
Thanks, Kim. Albert Einstein says, out of clutter, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So today we're going to talk about organization. And being organized is essential to being productive. Having a system of organization means that you can easily find a particular piece of information when you need it. So in the chat, tell me on average, how much time each day do you think you spend looking for things? All right. Many hours, someone says, every day. Yep, 30 minutes. Okay. 3. And a good answer is, I don't keep track. That's true. We're just looking for things. We're not timing ourselves. And the answer is too long. Okay, so on average, some studies estimate that people spend up to an hour and a half every day looking for things. So this module is going to help you to keep yourself organized and your files organized so you can find things more quickly. As you start adulting, you will find that you receive many more pieces of paperwork. To retrieve these documents quickly, you'll need an effective filing system that includes 3 basic kinds of files. The first is working files. So these are materials you use frequently and you need them close at hand. So some examples can include a printout of your class syllabus, a written to-do list. You might want to keep these next to you, next to your laptop or on your desk, or sometimes you can carry it with you. Reference files are the next type, and this is information that you need access to, but only occasionally. So examples are physical pieces of mail that you need to respond to, printed letters from college offices, such as financial aid, or a current bank or credit statement. Archival files are not needed often, but you still must keep them. So unlike reference files, which you want to keep close at hand, archive means you want to actually store these. So examples are your birth certificate, your apartment lease, your utility bills, your cell phone agreement. To make it easy to find, organize your files in the simplest way possible. For example, you could keep these documents in their own manila folder and then label the files with a 1 or 2 word tag and arrange them alphabetically. It's much more common to have documents on your computer or laptop and your smartphone. So even with advanced search tools, it's important to organize your computer files in a way that makes sense to you so you can retrieve your information quickly. Just like with paper files, a common way to organizing your digital files is to create a folder by project or task, and then create subfolders as appropriate. And someone in the comments mentioned this as well. I find that Google Drive is great for this. To take organization a step further, use a consistent naming convention so that your files are in order. For example, the year, then the month, then the date, and the name of the file. So an example that I use is the folder would be 2026 Spring Workshops, but the document name will be the year, the month, the date, and then the name of the file. In order to keep your files organized, You must clean up and archive your files regularly. So set a consistent date and put a reminder in your calendar. It could be at the end of the month, it could be at the end of each quarter or semester, or at the beginning of the year. Whatever works best for you. For paper files, go through your working and reference files and move any old items to archive files. Be sure to label and store them consistently. So likewise, you can go through your archive files and see if you can throw anything out, but be sure to shed sensitive documents. For electronic files, there's many applications to help you archive your data. And many email applications offer an automatic archive feature. Likewise, you can move your files to an external storage area. Likewise, this is a good time to perform a backup as well of your entire system. And someone mentions the use of AI, and that is definitely something that probably you can already do. I believe that it helps to already have your naming conventions and your folders set, and that's one way that you can have AI help you to move it into the correct folder. Yes. Another example that's mentioned in the chat is to use bookmarks. I find that bookmarks are super helpful to find information on websites very easily. Let's take some quiz questions. Studies estimate that how long people spend daily looking for things. And we all remember it's an hour and a half, letter B. Excellent. What do you need in order to retrieve your materials quickly? Is it an effective filing system, a maid, a spouse, or a mess? I would like a maid. The answer is A, an effective filing system. Good job. Which is one of the most effective ways of organizing files? A, dump them in a drawer. B, ask someone else to do it. C, create a folder for each project. Or D, avoid the process altogether. All right, so we are avoiding things, and we are C, creating a folder for each project. And then subfolders. Great. Someone said to err is human, but to really foul things up requires a computer. So let's talk about email. Email can be a great time saver, but it can also be a great time waster. This module will give you some tools to manage your email time wisely. We'll also look at how to take back your life from a smartphone. There's a couple of questions. So the first one refers back to this error. So error means to make an error or to make a mistake. And to really foul things up requires a computer. All right, so moving on to managing our email. Like other routine tasks, such as returning phone calls or handling your paper mail, email is best handled in batches at 3 regularly scheduled times of the day. We suggest setting a time, maybe at the beginning of the day, sometime in the middle of the day, and then at the end of the day, in order to focus on getting your inbox cleaned out. If you can't get it all done during the designated time frame, you got to decide if you're going to extend the time frame or let it wait until the next section, the next batch that you're going to do. You can also use the 5-minute rule, the one that Kim shared, to work on it throughout the day. One suggestion I have is to remove notifications. So notifications of new emails and even texts can make you distracted. So by removing them, this will help you to focus and maintain a more continuous workflow. We did have a question about records management. And so average time to keep files. If we have time at the end of the session, I'll try to answer that question. Another suggestion someone says for their email is they use their inbox. So I will have a little clue on how to do that with Google. Talking about email, let's talk about keeping your inbox clear. So when you're reviewing your email, try to take action right away. You can read it and then you can file it or delete it. You can also reply to it and then file it. So something like junk mail, you might want to delete it without taking any other action. Or if it needs someone else to see it, you can forward it and then file it. And finally, you can mark it for follow-up. Okay, to make the most of your email program, you can actually assign your email to do some of your daily tasks. So this is an example of like AI, right? So most email programs include tools to save you time and reduce the time you spend dealing with the email. My favorite features include customized labels and sublabels. They kind of act like the folders on your hard drive. Rules that you can use to move your emails to folders or perform other actions upon certain triggers. You can use colored flags, including follow-up flags with reminders. You can use the search tools, which we discussed earlier. You have your spam folder, so you can filter out your junk mail. And then auto archive and clean up your email at a certain time regularly. And then finally, this is what I do. I integrate my calendar. So I use Google. So my Google Calendar is integrated with my contacts and with my email. Our challenge to you is to take 5 minutes, maybe today or tomorrow, to see what your email program can do for you. And I will share what I use. So on Gmail, there are email filters and there are icons. So if you go into your settings file, you can look under filters right there. And you can see that I have some junk mail. So I just tell Gmail, don't even put it in my inbox, delete it. Or if someone from a previous job is sending me, I'm still on their email list, I just have it moved to a certain folder. And you can actually put in other emails to forward your current emails to. So this is it's like a research website. And so I had it forwarded to my, my other school email and then delete it from this box. And finally, you can actually label your email. So in your inbox, instead of the label inbox, you will see the label and then also whatever can highlight. So for me, for NSLS, I want to see that it's coming from them. Never send it to spam, right? And then I can also mark it as important. So speaking of marking your emails, under settings in general for Gmail, you can have your desktop notifications turned off for a specific period of time. You can turn them back on. And then also you can have stars on specific emails. So if you notice, you can put an orange star or a yellow star, but you can also put check marks and other icons that can help you to organize the email that's in your inbox. Okay, how many of you have a handheld device? Yes, all right, a lot of us do. And they can disrupt us. So this is the biggest obstacle to being very productive, actually. So we've already talked about handling email, and another major source of these disruptions, ironically, can come from your cell phones, your smartphones, and you can be interrupted anywhere at any time, even when you're sleeping. So to ensure that your handheld device increases rather than decreases your productivity, try these tips. So again, turn off your notifications for certain apps, or you can snooze or mute them. So you can snooze them for a certain period of time or just mute a whole line of texts. So maybe you don't tell my cousins this, but I have 20, I'm one of 20 cousins, and we have a text group and they're constantly on mute. Like it doesn't even ring. So I look at their texts when I have time. Give your number to only essential people so you're not getting texts by randos. If you're working, move your phone. So you want to set your device aside, or you can put it on do not disturb mode for a specific amount of time. And then set your device to vibrate in meetings or turn it off if possible. And finally, what I do is I tell my family, coworkers, and friends that I'm not available at a specific time, so they don't anticipate me being able to answer them. Okay. Got some great tips in the chat if you want to take a look as well. Let's do some quiz questions. Email is best handled in A, the office, B, batches, C, private, or D, incognito. All right. So depending on the email, yes, you might want to do it only in the office, or in the privacy of your own safe space. But this module that we went over suggests that you do it in batches. So you handle it at a specific time instead of just going back and forth into your email. To keep your inbox clear, read an email once and then do what? A, file or delete it. B, reply, then file it. C, forward it, then file it. Or D, all of the above. Yep, you can choose any of the above depending on what your email is. Finally, to avoid distraction from your phone, what should you do? Move it out of reach, mute or snooze notifications, notify family and friends, or D, all of the above. Yes, so D, all of the above. Going back to the email, so someone was suggesting to keep everything, and so my co-presenter Kim says you can also create folders. So you can have your saved emails and your sent emails, so they're not in your inbox, and then you can break your folders down however you want. So it might be helpful to do it by semester or by class. All right. Great tips, great ideas. I encourage you to share them with others so that, we can all be more productive. Martin Luther says, how soon not now becomes never. So this is talking about our favorite friend, procrastination. Procrastination means delaying a task or even several tasks that should be a priority. The ability to overcome procrastination and tackle the important actions that have the biggest positive impact in your life is a hallmark of the most successful people out there. So being able to overcome procrastination effectively will help you to be successful. Why do you procrastinate? So in the chat, feel free to share some common reasons why you think people delay starting important tasks. Why do you think people procrastinate? They're dreading it, they're afraid of failing, they might be lazy, can't prioritize. These are all great answers. Overthinking and then anxiety just stops you from beginning. Same with perfectionism. Sometimes it's daydreaming, or you value things now more than you will later. Sometimes the task feels hard to start, or you don't have a plan B, or you don't have enough time. And then someone rightfully says all of the above. So let's see what this module shares. So yes, someone mentioned you don't have a clear, when you're going to finish it, right? No clear deadline. Don't know where to begin. Feels overwhelming. There's not enough time, money, or information, so you don't have the resources to do it. You don't have passion, so you don't really enjoy doing this particular task. And then someone else said fear of failure or success. And I'm also hearing that there is, wanting to be perfect, so not starting so that you aren't actually failing at being perfect. Let's talk about how to overcome procrastination. So your ability to select the most important task at any given moment and then start at it and get it done quickly and well, it will have the most impact on your success than probably any other quality or skill you can develop. So if you can nurture the habit of setting clear priorities and getting important tasks quickly finished, the majority of your time management issues will just fade away. So here's some ideas to get moving on those tough tasks. Some of these are going to even be familiar. The first, limit distractions. Establish a positive working environment that's conducive to getting your work done. The distractions. Maybe you don't even need to do this task. So review it, and if it's something that you don't need to do, remove it. Delegate. If the task is important, ask yourself if it's really something you're responsible to do in the first place. So knowing what you're supposed to do for that or your role can help you ask if a task is part of your responsibilities. Can it be given to someone else? Or in my case, I love to create things for myself to do because it's a great idea, but in reality, it's something I can either remove or it's not my job. I can ask someone else to help me do it. You know what? Postponing an important task that needs to be done, it just creates anxiety that we mentioned and stress. So if you can do it as early in the day as possible, that's a great way to overcome procrastination. You can also ask others. So we've had some great advice in our chat today. If you have a trusted mentor, supervisor, or even like a coach or a faculty member, they might be able to help you decide how to break down a project and get it started. Speaking of breaking it down, we want to always take the large projects and then break it into actionable steps by milestone, right? So a Canadian motivational speaker named Bob Proctor said, break it down into the ridiculous. So huge things won't look as big when you're able to break it down to smaller and smaller tasks. Another rule to overcome procrastination is to only give it 15 minutes. So I actually use a timer. When I'm working, I'll put on a timer. There's plenty of lo-fi timers I like on YouTube. And so by not procrastinating, saying I only have 15 minutes to do this, then you can get through that next step on your project. Having a clear deadline, of course, is a way to make sure that you get it done. So if there's no deadline on a task, you set the deadline. Make it noticeable, like in your calendar, your to-do list, or your planner. And then you can also tell other people that will hold you accountable. So the way I do this is if I'm working in a group, I will ask someone to, or I will tell someone, okay, I'll get that to you by Friday at 5. And so they know, and I know it's due to them by Friday at 5. And then finally, we mentioned it in another slide, but you want to reward yourself. So celebrate the completion of a project or even just milestones by rewarding yourself. It will provide positive reinforcement and motivate you towards your goals. All right. So there's a saying in the business world, eat that frog. And so when you're working, even with your schoolwork, you're going to be recognized for achieving your specific measurable results and by making a contribution that's expected of you. But a lot of us confuse just doing activity with accomplishment. And this causes one of the most largest problems in organizations today, which is the failure to execute. So eat that frog means a frog is the task that will have the greatest impact on achieving your goals. And it's the task that you are most likely to procrastinate starting. So I know that we're already over our time and I don't want to take up too much time. So let me give you another way to look at it. Rocks, pebbles, and sand.
There's a well-known story about a university professor that wanted to make a point about the importance of prioritizing how we spend our time. The professor stood in front of his class with a display of items. He took a large, empty jar and filled it with rocks, approximately 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the class if the jar was full, and they agreed yes, the jar was full. The professor then took a box of pebbles and added them to the jar and gave it a little shake to move the pebbles into the open areas around the rocks. The professor asked the class again if the jar was full. They agreed. Yes, it is full this time. The professor then took a box of sand and added it to the jar, filling the spaces between the rocks and the pebbles. He asked again, now, is the jar full? They laughed and agreed, yes, it's full. This jar represents your life. The big rocks signify the really important things in your life, such as health, family, and friends. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. And the sand signifies the remaining small stuff, such as material possessions. Now, if you were to reverse the order of filling the jar and add the sand first, there would not be enough room for the rocks and the pebbles. The same principle applies to your life. If you spend too much time on the small stuff, you won't have enough space or time to focus on the things that are truly important, the big rocks. So, prioritize the big rocks first. Practice self-care, spend quality time with the people you love, and the rest is just pebbles and sand. They will always find some space.
All right. So we're gonna, thank you very much. So we're gonna skip these review questions because I feel that you all have definitely gathered the information you need from the procrastination module. And to wrap up, we really hope that you enjoy this workshop. And although it's coming to a close, we know that your journey to improve your personal productivity is just beginning. As we strive for our own professional growth, you can be extremely helpful. So take the survey at go.hawaii.edu/lowercase n, lowercase r, and capital D, or scan the QR code here. There's only 6 required things to check off or answer, and we really appreciate your feedback. If you want to contact us after the workshop, these are our email addresses. Mahalo for joining us, and mahalo for giving us feedback.